moving story is presented by Singapore Logistics Association and Jurong Port, and supported by the following.
Singapore is the world's #2 logistics hub, according to a 2010 World Bank report. From the largest transshipment hub to Asia's top 5 cargo airport, Singapore offers excellent global connectivity. Besides that, the city-state also provides secure storage of art and other valuables and is a player in cold chain logistics. In this 4-part series, we pay tribute to those who work behind the scenes and around the clock to ensure on-time delivery of goods and services around the world. Artworks worth millions of dollars are in safe hands thanks to these skilled art handlers.
The logistic involved, it's something that I don't think Singapore had ever embarked on such an ambitious project before.
Unpredictable weather conditions make setting up temporary outdoor suites a real challenge.
It's never a boring day at work.
Making sure the right cargo goes to the right exhibitor at the designated booth is their job.
We anticipate a lot of international shipments that comes in from overseas, either by air freight or sea freight, or even courier consignment.
Chingay floats are transported 6 weeks prior to the parade itself.
It is actually critical for them to rehearse with the float.
30 containers worth of costumes, puppets, props, lighting and audio equipment. The stage is set for the highly anticipated Broadway musical.
It's always a war zone when we're fitting up, but the one big difference with a production like Lion King, we always win the war.
5 events, 5 professionals. They share the same belief of doing their best when it comes to events logistics. This is no ordinary warehouse. This is the Singapore Freeport, a highly secured storage facility dedicated to fine arts and other high-value collections. Art handling firm Helutrans is one of the tenants at the Freeport. Today, the company is helping various art galleries transport their works to Marina Bay Sands for an international art fair. As the official art handler for Art Stage, it is handling the delivery and setup of artworks for 80 galleries over the next few days. Even transporting artworks is a piece of art by itself. This vehicle has been installed with an air ride suspension system to prevent sudden movements that may damage the art pieces. Due to the magnitude of the project, more than 40 skilled art handlers from China, Hong Kong, Taiwan and Indonesia have been hired for the crucial period leading up to the launch of Art Stage.
Different artwork require different handling. So these are basic skills that a normal manpower will not understand. To install work itself is another different story again. You must know how to measure the length of the wall, the height of the painting, the weight of the painting is a concern because these are not concrete walls. These are all basically plywoods, and the plywoods are not really strong. So when you have a heavy artwork, you need certain form of enforcement, onto the walls.
From fragile artworks to towering sculptures, they have been installed by this logistics firm, which has a history of packing, shipping and storing art for 25 years.
Hello Trans is, I think, the most specialized art handler you have here in Singapore. They are the art handler also of the Freeport. They are the art handler of many galleries and also auction houses all over Asia.
Dick joined the company in 1986 as a salesman. In 1993, he was involved in the management buyout. Back in the early days, art handling as an industry was virtually unheard of in Singapore. He would travel to countries where art is an established business to learn secrets of the trade.
My travel takes me to Europe, America, and Japan. And at that time, these are countries that have superior packing, superior crate making, superior handling, with air ride truck technology. In Singapore, we have nothing. So during my travel, I come back with knowledge and I start implementing things. I'm a hands-on individual, which means that I'm a good packer myself. I can handle artwork. So based on my experience itself, I teach my stuff.
Dick's perseverance paid off. Thanks to rising affluence in Asia, Singapore wants to become an Asian arts hub that brings the players under one roof. In short, art is becoming big business, and logistics players in this niche area only stand to gain.
I'm not an arty-farty guy. I'm not really into art, to be honest. What excites me is more the logistical approach, the operational part of it. I've done jobs before where you talk about packing of 60,000 pieces of artwork from New Zealand, moving to Singapore. And I think it drives me in a sense that, I don't see the same thing every time.
For over 45 years, Jurong Port has been making good moves in general cargo, bulk cargo, and containerized cargo. We are recognized as Asia Pacific's multi-purpose port of the year. Thinking of good moves? Jurong Port.
For a business to prosper, it must first understand the basis of sustainability. The nominees for the Green Luminary Award: City Developments Limited, MTR Corporation Limited, Semcorp Industries Limited, in pursuit of eco-friendly practices in the Asian business landscape, without compromising quality, integrity, and overall vision, recognizing the best business minds in Asia.
This is brought to you by Platinum sponsor the new Audi A8, light years ahead. Platinum sponsor Yu Yuen Sung. Bronze sponsor PSA International. And proudly supported by Royal Selangor. And official hotel partner, Raffles Hotels Singapore.
At least 4,000 maids ran away from their employers' homes last year. They claim to be victims of overwork and verbal abuse. It seems that Singaporeans don't know how to treat their maids. Do you agree? We hear from both maids and employers on the next episode of Blog TV. Made in Singapore, tonight at these times.
The meetings, incentives, conventions and exhibition industry, otherwise known as MICE, saw a 20% increase in events organizing in 2010 compared to 2009. The Asia Television Forum was one of the over 1,500 events held at Suntec Singapore. 3 days before the start of the event, hundreds of workers descended on the empty halls to set everything up in place. Iskandar Rahim is the project manager of Agility, the freight forwarding company for the event. His team is clearing the goods of the previous exhibition at the loading bay area to make space for this upcoming one. In fact, his company has just finished a mega event a week earlier and will soon start working on another exhibition in the following week.
The challenge for having 3 back-to-back shows or more back-to-back shows is that it differs. One show we can be handling machines, the other show printed matter. So we need to change our planning and tactics on approaching for another show. So having a back-to-back show is not really an issue. It's just how we plan for that back-to-back shows is the most critical matter.
Detailed planning includes knowing which cargo will arrive by which mode of transportation.
Exhibition is an international industry, okay? And obviously there will be intermodal transport coming in, for example, like air and sea. In our industry, it's really necessary for us to identify what kind of mode of transport that our exhibitors are using. So we differentiate it by color coding, which is easier. It's also an international form of identification. So our guys will more or less understand that this shipment is by air and by sea and whatsoever. And to have the color, the floor plan correspond to the color of what we use in the industry, it's easier for them to route it to the correct booth.
Once the booths have been set up, the agility team kicks into high gear to deliver the goods whenever the exhibitors fly into town.
Most challenging aspect, I should say, is to have the goods delivered on time to the exhibitors at a very short pace of time and a very limited space. Exhibition hall is it's really tight.
Everything's been where it's supposed to be, and yeah, all happy, sorted the stand out, and virtually finished now.
Events logistics is a service-oriented industry. Understanding different cultures go a long way. It goes without saying that last-minute requests are par for course.
In events, we should expect the unexpected. Like right now, in this case, we are transferring around 300 boxes for the organizers to the various registration points. Yeah? So we have to activate our guys immediately to have this delivered on time.
Iskandar does not just focus on local events and exhibitions. He makes frequent trips all over the world, courtesy of his job.
Most memorable show, I should say Dubai Air Show. I have the opportunity to actually be up in an A380 and up in the cockpit with the pilot, and I think that itself was really interesting, yeah, for me, knowing that some areas are restricted to the others, and for me, I have the opportunity to actually venture out where most people can't.
Building 2 temporary outdoor suites that can take the weight of 250 and 150 people respectively in the middle of a golf course requires more than just engineering expertise. From transporting the huge amount of fabrication material onto the undulating and inaccessible terrain to taking safety precautions due to ongoing golf activities. These are some of the logistical challenges involved. This is the 4th year Denise Kong is handling this sport event at Tanah Merah Country Club. The senior account manager from Pico has been keeping tabs on the weather conditions for the past few weeks.
Contingency planning is very important. We need to act fast, as in like if let's say, for example, due to bad weather conditions, we need to coordinate with my workers, maybe to start off with doing different works for the different areas. Yeah, instead of doing all the outdoor works, we will actually make planning, as in like to arrange my workers to do the indoor works rather than doing the outdoor works, so that we can try to speed up the process.
Thankfully, sunny skies are back after a bout of rain over several days delayed the progress. The workers toiled tirelessly and now they are back on schedule. For the past several weeks, the project team has been solving operational issues on the ground. Despite the irregular hours, Denise enjoys the challenges.
It's the challenge and the exposure. Basically, you get to learn a lot from different industries, and at the same time, you know, maybe like for now, I'm actually doing an outdoor events, sports events, but maybe tomorrow I might be flying off to other countries to do different exhibitions for my different clients.
Prior to this project, Denise knows nothing about golf. These days, however, this amateur golfer has picked up a tip or two from watching the world's best. Who says events logistics is all work and no play?
We are committed to using technology to innovate our operations and processes to increase productivities and reduce costs. We're in the business of supplying ornamental fish, and it is extremely important that the fish are still alive when they are delivered to the client. This is why we use Singtel's track and trace solution, because delivery on time is literally a matter of life and death.
There are 7 million people in Hong Kong, 280,000 millionaires and 25 billionaires, and they all love property.
In a debut episode of an all-new series on emerging real estate trends, join Tim Murphy in Hong Kong as he finds out how the city has gone from strength to strength in the wake of the 1997 handover.
It's the up-and-coming place in the world, no doubt about it.
Your definitive guide to the property market. Buying Asia starts Wednesday at these times.
For over 45 years, Jurong Port has been making good moves in general cargo, bulk cargo, and containerized cargo. We are recognized as Asia Pacific's multi-purpose port of the year. Thinking of good moves? Jurong Port.
The moving story of Simba the lion will finally make its debut in Singapore come March. Preparations started months in advance. The backstage of the Sands Theatre at the Marina Bay Sands is a constant whirl of activity. From the endless rounds of rehearsals to creating the perfect fit for the performers and adding the final touches to the puppets. More than 100 people are involved in the production of The Lion King. For the stage setup period, 3 containers of equipment are unloaded every day for nearly 2 weeks. Over 80 people work 14 hours every day during fitting of the stage. From fixing lights to installing sound equipment and the props used in different scenes of the show, the responsibility falls on technical director Richard Martin. And Richard is clearly a man on a mission.
Yeah, it is a high-stress job. I mean, there's been over 80 people here working backstage and with local logistics companies, freight companies, customs, the challenges of the Marina Bay Sands. There's a lot of people rely on you each day to have the schedule and have the support there. So what I need them to do is pass their problems on to me so I can solve them for them, so they can do their duties.
Richard first cut his teeth with Opera Australia at the Sydney Opera House in 1979. 20 years later, Richard started his own company, providing technical direction and management for many well-known shows. He has been involved with The Lion King since 2003 and helped in the setup in Shanghai, Johannesburg and Taipei. Each new venue presents new challenges.
It's like building a house on a new block of land. Every time there's always a challenge. Might be the same house, but different block of land's a different challenge.
Just installing the floor of the stage took 3 days.
So what we have here, this is what we call the Lion King rake. It's the rake stage, which goes up to just over 1 metre at the back when the performers are performing on it. We have nearly 40 tonne of steel here and hydraulics. There's very large hydraulic rams underneath that lift this stage up and down. They're capable of lifting it up and down with scenery on it and with all the cast on it as well, dancing away in the show. So as you see, it's quite thick. There's a lot of construction here.
Elephant Graveyard, one of the key props, requires the effort of 10 men for half a day.
Well, the Elephant Graveyard is made of steel and fiberglass and a lot of carving. What this does, as we take it out of the containers, it's laid in specially prepared trolleys to keep it safe. And when we bring it in, we hang some chain motors, some rigging in the air to lift these off their trolleys, and then we put the wheels in underneath, bolt it all together, and voila, Elephant Graveyard.
The audience will never know how much work was involved in staging of The Lion King. These workers are truly the supporting cast of the show.
I think the favourite part of the job is when the first audience sees the show for the first time and they stand and applaud and they get some enjoyment out of it, whether it be a young child or an older elderly person. To see the smiles on people's faces, enjoy me, and think, wow, I was a part of making that person happy.
Chingay Parade 2011 is all of 2 hours long. But the preparations involved usually takes more than a year, given the items and the sheer number of performers from various organizations. It is, in short, a massive logistical challenge. The first hurdle the team at People's Association or PA has to overcome is transporting the floats from where they are partially made to where the performance will be held. It takes a day to prepare for the move of 11 floats. The floats are securely fastened and any features that may cause obstruction on the road are removed. Moving these oversized vehicles on public roads require relevant permits from the Land Transport Authority. Due to the size of the convoy, 2 trips are made. The floats have to be escorted by auxiliary police and the exact route has to be determined in advance.
We will have to do a site recce with the contractor to make sure that these roads are passable to the floats. Basically, the turning radius must be big enough, the height restriction must be contained, and we must adhere to all the on-road requirements. And of course, before we move the vehicles out, we have to make sure that all the parts are properly secured. The drivers and the technicians supporting the escort are properly briefed of all the safety requirements.
Depending on the design of the floats, some drivers do not have a clear view of the road. As such, there are guides who direct the drivers. For other drivers, they depend on a monitor to see both the front and back views. The brightly lit convoy attracted passers-by who stopped to snap pictures. After an hour's drive, all the floats reached destination safely. This is the first time a gigantic red cloth, which measures 240 meters by 12 meters, will be used by 160 PA youth members as part of the finale item. This cloth is actually sewn together by smaller pieces. Inappropriate handling of the cloth, coupled with strong winds, may cause it to tear. As such, the organizers have to think of ways to solve the problem.
OK， 你看，因为这布的质地很薄，如果一不小心就破了。现在已经破了4个洞，所以回头我们每一天的rehearsal完呢，就是要把它缝。就有一组人专门来修理这红布，一组人专门来这个保护这个红布，一直到正式演出。
Another finale item involves using 4,000 sky lanterns, which are actually balloons filled with helium. Each lantern comes with an LED light and a Velcro strap for the performer to secure it to his or her wrist. Just inflating the balloons and securing them at various locations is a full day's work.
Each of these balloons actually measures 60 cm by 60 cm. So space-wise, we actually have this constraint as to where to house them. So we have to find different spots around the parade route as well as around the parade area itself to actually tie them and make sure that they are secure. And of course, the other challenge that we face is being outdoors, the parade being outdoor. The balloons will actually be subject to strong winds as well as rain and things like that. So we have to be very mindful of that.
From the sky lanterns to the red cloth to the float transportation, all these require meticulous planning. For the organizers, the effort is well worth it. The calendar of events is often packed to the brim. The work for events logistics players is endless. Thanks to their dedication, we can enjoy a performance or close a business deal.
By having 20 years in this business, I'm still learning.
You need to remain calm when you face any unforeseen circumstances.
The sense of achievement when after a hard day's work, when the show starts, you see all the stands are up, all the happy faces from the exhibitors.
A moving story was presented by Singapore Logistics Association and Jurong Port and supported by the following: